All right, not coming to you from the belly of the beast in lower Manhattan in the shadow of the Freedom Tower and just north of historic Trinity Church. Today, coming to you from the West Coast as the McCullough clan is still getting ready to participate in a wedding. By the way, a wedding that America can be proud of because the young man who's getting married is a current Navy NFO, Naval Flight Officer, and he is the highest decorated Top Gun grad in his at his position in the history of Top Gun. In fact, we just got some news last night that he's going to be asked to be taking part in some other really special, cool, top secret stuff that we can't even know about. So America can be proud at this young man and what he's accomplished and what he is going to, and the young lady that he's marrying who loves the Lord, and it's just a wonderful thing, and it happens to be the lovely bride's brother. But we're here, and so if you're watching by way of the AFA channel or on TV the last couple of days, if they show that shot right here, this is the view of Santa Barbara's coastline, which is where they will be getting married, and we will be, roughing it. We left New York, 40 inches of snow on the ground. We're roughing it, suffering for the cause of the family for the rest of the week, with sunshine and beautiful blue skies. Everyone back home in New York just hates me now. I know they do. Anyway, welcome to AFA Today on AFR Talk. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you with us. 888-589-8840. We're talking about a very disturbing development. And this is one of the most truly heinous developments I've seen take place. Because while I'm making fun of the fact that in Russia, people are getting in trouble because the opening ceremonies don't go right, or the Russian hockey coach may be afraid that he's going to be cannibalized at some point because he lost and didn't make it to the finals. Everything. Oh, that's that funny Cold War stuff. It all happens over there, where all those leftist countries were all, that's all that stuff over there. Yeah, but now we're sending the Gestapo into the newsrooms. According to an FCC commissioner written about in today's Wall Street Journal, news organizations are going to have visits from the Federal Communications Commission. They are going to be repeatedly questioned about the categories of what they call critical information that they cover on their newscasts, like the environment. What drives the motivation to do a story on the environment? What's the bias or the perceived bias? This is one of the things these FCC commissioners are going to be charged with checking out. I wonder if groups like OneNewsNow.com, who provide the AFN news, are going to have people coming in and being tapped on the shoulder. My friend Fred Jackson, he'd tap him on the shoulder and say, yes, Fred, we need to talk about the the bias or the perceived bias about how you pick the stories that you choose to cover. And while we're at it, why don't you shuffle us over to the radio network? I've got a word to have with Brian Fisher and Kevin McCullough. 888-589-8840. I think this is one of the most intrusive things that the administration has initiated to date. And it is like the Gestapo going to the news business. Let's talk to you about it, though, because I want to hear what you have to say. Let's start with Dan calling from South Dakota on line 3. Hi, Dan. Welcome.
Yes, Kevin. This may be too little too late, but I feel like the Lord might be calling me into some type of this research group, starting something kind of grassroots just to inform friends, family, just people in my community here in the Midwest on things that, I hear from you talking about every day, from Brian Fisher, even in the morning with Dan.
Sure.
All these type of things. And I just wanted to get your advice on, starting that. I've looked into, utilizing, technology, internet options, blogs, that kind of thing. But I'm also into, like I said, just the grassroots approach too, and I'm very sociable and things like that. So I'm just wondering, what advice would you have for someone who wants to help inform people about these intrusive things? As you put it, intrusive is a good word for it. These things going on. What would you say?
Well, I would say there's a lot of things that are free at your disposal that you can start right away. If you're not on the internet, get on the internet, get a Facebook page started, get a Twitter feed started, start adding friends and family and people that you have influence with, and start just giving them little thoughts each day. Hey, here's a story. I heard about this story on a radio show. Here's the link to it. By the way, all the stories that we use on this broadcast, I always try to attach to the Facebook page and also my website, thebenchthinker.com. So you can actually go get the original article, link that, and then send that to those people or ask them questions. One of the things I found in attempting to have this discussion with people that are yet unconvinced of my positions, I will often ask them questions and say, do you think it is right to XYZ or ABC? And I'll give them those options, and then that develops a conversation that sometimes other people jump into. So I would say use the free technology that's at your disposal, like the social media outlets, etc., and start the conversation. The more you do it, the more you explain your concerns, the more you engage them into those discussions where you're causing them to think, that will by nature of itself draw more people into the conversation. That will by nature itself dispel some of the confusion that they have had purposefully rolled into the path of how they think. And as you start seeing people set free in how they think, where they're no longer just accepting the word of so-and-so or so-and-so, they actually go and look and develop for themselves and read for themselves and begin to be more and more, activated to the cause of clarity, then you'll see them expand that grassroots effort. So I would say use free technology, use the resources that you hear on the air, echo them, repeat them, relay them to the people that are in your life. And then there's a ton of other things that you could do, from, become a very serious student of the internet, learn about SEO and how to, prioritize things across the web, to attending some of the more significant conferences that go on, and keep yourself informed, keep yourself armed, become a better communicator, acquire skill sets that you don't have. If you're not a good writer, become a better writer. If you're not a great speaker, become a better speaker. Work on those things, and then just let it be a passion. With your passion, just keep driving it, not in an offensive way. You're not trying to push people off. What you're trying to do is to say, hey, this is important. We got to pay attention. Let's focus on something that really matters. And I think over time, people will begin to respect that. Okay. Does that help?
Yes. And
Good
actually,
deal.
If I could be very honest, Kevin, there's a little bit of intimidation to this accompanying this impulse to share what I'm hearing and learning. There's just a little intimidation. I mean,
sure.
Case in point, what you're talking about today, of all this intrusiveness and filtering, if you will, of the very thing that I want to or feel inclined to pursue. It's just a little intimidating. So I just
no, it absolutely is, and I
understand
that. And that's why, and I've heard this repeated from many people, it's not original with me, but when a government attempts to thwart your freedom to express yourself, the best advice I've ever heard is speak louder. When government tries to silence you, scream more thoroughly, speak louder, get the message out. That's not meaning literally scream. It just means be bigger, be bolder, do what you have to do, because the more you do, the harder it becomes for them to ultimately silence you. And if there's not a handful of people, Dan, like you, that are willing to say, yeah, in my area of influence, in my family, in my circle of friends, and the people that I have near me, I'm going to engage in those conversations. I'm going to do everything I can to attempt to tell them the truth about things, and I'm going to use sources and facts, and I'm going to use the resources that I'm listening to. I'm going to pull those stories together. I'm going to show them. Just be faithful with it. What I have discovered, Dan, and it's been really liberating for me, is that I don't have to talk about a party or even politics. This idea of the FCC coming into newsrooms to basically intimidate them into what they're reporting and why they're reporting it, and who knows what they're going to do with the information as they collect it. Over time, this is the intended effect of this is to cause people to submit to the will of what the administration wants them to air. The biggest mistake that the news industry could make, left or right, is to go along with it. The most important thing that they should do is not only report on this infiltration of their newsrooms by the government, but to report on it and report on it and report on it and report on it. Because the FCC, we're not subjects to the FCC. The FCC is subject to us. We, the people, are the ones that run the country, not the bureaucrats in Washington. We have to be diligent to serve as that steward of the freedoms that we have. And if we're not, we will lose them.
Okay.
All right, Dan, I really appreciate it. That's a great question. Let's see. Let's go to line 4. Gina's calling from Ohio. Hi, Gina. Welcome.
Hi. First of all, I wanted to let you know that today's the first day I ever listened to your program.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm finding it somewhat interesting, somewhat disturbing. Excuse me, please.
What's disturbing about it? Let's start with that part.
Okay, well, I was under the impression that this was a Christian-based organization, and am I correct?
I can't love Jesus and tell you the news?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, okay.
What I'm saying is that, the part that's bothering me is that as Christians, I wholeheartedly feel that we should be known for our love. And I'm sorry, and I know it's an attempt to be funny, but your treatment of the Russians today is kind of casting a very negative light on them, and it seems to be an antiquated approach. That's kind of, I grew up in school in the 60s and the 70s, and, it was always the evil Russians and this and that, and I feel like that you're purporting the same type of feeling against these people. And if anything, I think we should be loving them and building bridges, not walls.
Gina, first of all, thank you for at least recognizing it as a comedic bit meant to cause people to laugh. What I really was using the sketch for was to set up the contrast. Russia as a federation isn't under the Iron Curtain anymore, though Putin has deep ties, and if you do the study, there's some desires that he has to bring things kind of back under centralized control the way they were before. However, to contrast the fact that the Russian coach feels like he may be, quote, eaten alive, next to a story where the FCC is coming into our newsrooms, and they're going to try to force news agencies to fall into line with what they feel like should be reported, to me is rather telling. We're talking about Russia because it is an antiquated approach. Last week or the week before, I did the story on the snowflakes that didn't open in the opening ceremonies, and the whole world saw the snowflake not open in the opening ceremonies. The developmentally challenged snowflake did not open into the fifth ring, ironically the red ring of the Olympic rings. But what you had going to Putin's private suite was footage from the rehearsal that it actually showed it opening. So why were they scared of Putin's response to the actual misfunction of the mechanics? I don't know. Do we still live in that day and age? I don't know. I would like to think we don't. But more worrisome for me, Gina, and I hope you'll keep listening because I want it to be interesting. One of the things that worries me is that we're adopting some of the very techniques that they abandoned 20 years ago. We're bringing them to the U.S. We're infiltrating our newsrooms with FCC commissioners to sit there and grill reporters over what types of stories and what perceived bias they're telling people. And I don't want that to happen. I want our news reporting facility to be free of any encumbrance. And that means, as much as I dislike the content of MSNBC, they should be free to report what they want to report. As much as I think the good folks at Fox do their very best to tell you both sides fair and balanced, and yes, full disclosure, I do a lot of contributing there, so it's not a completely objective position, I admit, but I think that there's room for everyone to be able to report whatever they need. We don't need government to come in and say, we're perceiving that you didn't use the right, train of thought to develop that story. Let the marketplace decide that. Let you, the news consumer, decide that. We will vote with where we watch and what we listen to. That's the truth about Americans. We will say, hey, I appreciate this, therefore I'm going to keep watching it, or we'll stop watching it. And that's the bottom line. But yes, I did poke a little fun at the Russians. By the way, the Russian interpreter is not really in the room. There's some people that have been worried about that. I don't have a Russian interpreter in the room, but the hockey coach did lose. He is worried for his life, or that's what he told the reporters. I will be eaten alive. Why don't you eat me alive now? The translation always cracks me up, is a little bit humorous. Anyway, thank you, Gina, for the call. And don't stop listening. Keep listening. Hopefully you're going to see that there's some encouragement here for you as well. All right, so we're taking your calls, 888-589-8840, 888-589-8840. And what we're talking about, to just be candid, is the fact that we are adopting a Cold War sheriffing mentality of our own news industry. The FCC is announcing that starting this spring, they're going to go into a newsroom in Columbia, South Carolina, and they're going to grill the reporters on what they report on and why they report on it. What is your reaction to this? Should we stop agenda-driven media? Should we prevent anyone from saying anything from a government enforcement worldview? I want to know from your point of view what you think about that. 888-589-8840. It's AFA Today on AFR Talk. Stay with us.